holding today's meeting at Southern Garrett High School. If there is public comment, we will come back at 4 o'clock for that public comment. The board will go into executive session following this public session. We hope to return by 6 p.m. for public session, although we will come back at 4 p.m. to see if there's any public comment. Under Section 3-305B of the General Provisions Article of the Maryland Annotated Code, one reason the board will go into closed session this evening: discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Specifically, the topics for tonight will be 3-305B1, including certificated staffing recommendations, tenured staffing recommendations, personnel update, and superintendent goals. The reason these topics will be discussed in closed session instead of open session is as follows. The personnel topics pursuant to 3-305B1 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because they include a discussion of specific employees, which is a confidential employment matter. Hearing that, are there any objections to the board going into executive session? Hearing none, is a motion to do so.
So moved.
So moved by Jason.
Second.
Seconded by Josh. Those in favor of going into executive session, signify by saying aye.
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 And it is unanimous. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our August 8th, 2023 regularly scheduled Garrett County Board of Education meeting. Thank you for coming. I'd like to begin this evening by asking each of you to stand for a moment of silence, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by our student board member, Haley Wilderson. To the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first action item is approval of the agenda, so I'll take a motion as such. So moved by Jason.
Second.
Second by Josh. Discussion. Those in favor of the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And it is approved. I'll take a motion now for the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved.
So moved by Josh.
Second.
Second by Rodney. Those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The consent agenda is approved. Move on now to closed session summaries and announcements.
Closed session summaries can be found on the Garrett County Public Schools website. Announcements can also be found on that website.
Thank you, Superintendent. Our next order of business is a recognition. We are proud this evening to recognize one of our artists in Garrett County. The board is pleased to recognize Miss Elena James, a 10th grade student at Southern Garrett High School. Miss James' artwork was selected by the Fine Arts Committee to be purchased and displayed at one of Garrett County's public schools facilities. Her artwork is on the screen, but I'll show you an actual artwork. Clap to it. If you want to come up, we have a certificate for you. And more importantly, we have a check for you as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Education, congratulations. New artwork. That's the most important thing.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, I don't know. Anything else?
Hey, Brandon.
You know what? Brandon, would you grab the
Brandon.
picture?
I think you're fine.
Yeah, Brandon, somebody let her hold that.
You're fine. Look at your phone. Excellent. I don't think we did. We need to,
Do we need to?
because it's not on the agenda.
Not on the
either.
agenda either.
That's why I think it got missed. That part of the consent agenda. Well,
Yeah, we need to do
do we have to do it?
Consent agenda
I
now.
think that, do we?
It's on the consent
Okay.
Oh, it's on the consent. Ah,
We're just used to them being separate.
yeah, that's perfect. That's efficient. That's great.
We really speed things up.
You're doing good, Tom.
First order of business is policies and procedures, JQB student meal charge procedure. That will be presented by Mr. Jermaine.
Good evening. Here to talk about the revisions we made in the procedure for JQB, the student charge policy. Procedure, sorry. Most of it's just wording, doesn't change any real meat in it. We no longer use my school bucks. We switched to a more generic term of my payment portal. We'll just keep the information, current information on the website. We changed some things around to make them just flow better. And the only true change we made was we changed may to will in, sorry. That we may go to a collections instead of will. That would be a discussion with the principal of the school, the student, the superintendent, and myself.
Mr. Woods, if I may add, this went through our policy and procedures review committee. This is a procedure. So if there are any questions, we would be more than happy to answer, but this does not require approval.
The only question I had, Scott, was 2F, under meal charges, says that the principals will reach out to the parents and guardians once it reaches $30. Is there an established method of reaching out, or is it by letter, or is it by phone call?
No, we haven't established something how the principals will reach out. I think it's more up to how they want to reach out to the parent. Either a phone call or a letter is up to them. So
As long as there's some type of documentation
Yes.
that
yes.
that has been, okay.
An established way too that if someone wants to pay another child's debt down, is there some kind of procedure out there for that? Because I know we had some of that happen last year.
We don't normally allow a person to pay a individual student's debt because we are not allowed to discuss that debt with somebody who's not a guardian or a parent. We do have ways to do angel funds so that people can donate to the foundation. The foundation then cuts us a check and then we distribute it depending on how they wish it to be spent. Individual schools, countywide.
Can we put something out there, either on our website or somewhere, some kind of press release like that?
We've not discussed that angel funds, but we definitely can. I'm not usually one to go begging, but I have learned to beg since COVID started. So, but yeah, we can definitely do that.
Do you get many angel funds?
We did during COVID. This past year, we received, I believe, 3 different payments. Payment for York Glades Elementary, payment for Broadford Elementary, and then one for a smaller one for Grantsville Elementary. Those are the only 3 that I recall.
One that was take care of basically the whole school, right?
Yes, Yucca Leeds and Broadford both took care of the whole school. At the time, the information was given, but by the time we got back, we did not take care of the whole school. School meal debt went up pretty quickly this year. Yeah.
Rely on it.
Other questions that anyone has this revision? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next policy procedure is BDFC, Local Advisory Council Policy and Procedure, another revision. It's be presented by Mr. Edwards.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I actually have several policy and procedure to come before you guys tonight for a first read. All these did come through the Policy Review Committee acceptably. The first one is BDFC, which is on the Local Advisory Council, or LAC, which is relevant to CTE instruction. You will notice no meaningful change in this policy or procedure. It's all formatting and getting it into the updated format that we have. The original policy was written in 2014. The format has changed since then. So this change is to get it in the proper format. And you will notice that the last three comments or last 3 points on the policy read to me to be more procedure. So my recommendation is just to move that over to the procedure, and you'll see in the recommended procedure in red where that has been moved over to. And then the reciprocal policy or procedure for policy BDFC, again, no meaningful change, just formatting and moving the advise, assist, and advocate bullets over to the procedure from policy. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Any board members? It is just a matter of a revision of formatting. Hearing none? Thank you for that. And we'll move on to the next one, which is IHCDA gifted and talented students under 16 years of age admitted to college level instruction, policy and procedure. This is an action item.
Yes, and my recommendation is to retire this policy. You'll see that this policy was adopted in 1981. Many things have changed in those 40 years. This is obsolete. Basically, with the new laws that are in place, primarily Blueprint and a lot of the accelerated pathway language that's in there that's actually codified in law, this no longer is relevant. Our college MOUs replace this anyway. So we actually have had some conversations about potential ninth graders and possibly even younger starting some dual enrollment classes, which we do through our MOUs, which would be beyond this policy anyway. My recommendation is to retire due to obsolescence.
Dr. McCarty, you have a recommendation?
Recommend that we delete the gifted and talented students under 16 years of age in college level instruction policy.
Do I hear a motion as such?
So moved.
So moved by Jason. Seconded by Josh. Discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor of deleting IHCDEA gifted and talented students under 16 years of age admitted to college level instruction, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And the policy is deleted. Our next policy procedure is IHCG, evening high school policy, and this is also an action item.
Yes, once again, the recommendation from the secondary department is to retire this policy. We no longer employ evening high school in this manner. You'll see again, this policy was adopted in 1991. It was last revised in 2003. We do not do any of this anymore for a variety of reasons, and we have several other options at our disposal now to accomplish what we did then when we didn't have so many options, and evening high school was the only option.
Superintendent McCartney, do you have a recommendation?
Recommendation is to approve the retirement of IHCG policy as the program is no longer offered for credit recovery.
Is there a motion? So moved by Rodney.
Second.
Seconded by Jason. Discussion? All those in favor of eliminating IHCG evening high school policy, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The policy is deleted. Our last policy procedure is JOA, issuance of employment certificate policy, also an action item.
And once again, recommendation of the secondary department is to retire the issuance of employment certificates, as this is no longer done at the school level. It's done directly with the Department of Commerce online. There's no mechanism to do this anymore at the school level. Therefore, the policy is obsolete.
Superintendent McCartney, you have a recommendation?
My recommendation is to approve the retirement of JOA policy as we no longer issue work permits.
Motion as such. So moved by Josh. Second by Rodney. Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of removing JOA issuance of employment certificate policy, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And the policy is removed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was just going to say it's really good that you're going through these old policies and getting rid of the ones that are no longer pertinent, because it does clog up the files and it can cause confusion. And I think this is a really good exercise. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Our next order of new business is pre-kindergarten and kindergarten report card update. And that is to be presented.
Thank you. So we had some teachers that met throughout the year on the scope and sequence, and they had some good suggestions around the county to update along with the report card as they were working on the scope and sequence, because they could see some changes that needed to take place. And so when you look at the pre-kindergarten report card, which I shared with you all, and you will find the changes in red. I put everything in red so that you could see it clearly. With the updated county ELA and math scope and sequence and pacing guides, the team felt it was important to report the standards on the report card in Q2. So they're opening those up earlier, so that this allows them to show parents the progress from the beginning of the year. And it's also something they can share then during parent-teacher conference. You'll see some of those changes in ELA as well as math there. Any questions before I move to kindergarten? Okay. On kindergarten report card, if you notice under behaviors that promote learning and respect, they did not feel, and I agree with them, that shows organizational skills. That's not developmentally appropriate. We still have adults that struggle with that. So I can totally understand why they felt that way. And then when you look at ELA, the identified all upper lowercase letters and produce consonant sounds, identify vowel sounds. They would like these two boxes open to show progress from Q1 to Q2. It helps them inform the parents, and it follows the new scope and sequence and support with the RTI data as well as they meet with parents. And you'll see that in red that it demonstrates reading, and we added and listening comprehension. And one of the reasons that was added was because the state standard actually states the listening, and we wanted that to be in alignment with that. And the other piece there that we changed that you'll find right below it uses reading strategies to accurately read a decodable book. And the reason we did that, we changed from emergent reader to decodable book because we use decodable text to assess our students. So that was the change there. Then you'll find in math where we opened up there, the same thing again was because it aligned with our county scope and sequence now. And it provides parents more information as they enter into Q1 to Q2. And then they added 2 at the bottom. And these were added because not only do they follow the scope and sequence, but they are prerequisite skill for the following grade levels that build on each other. So that's why they wanted to add compose and decompose numbers 11 to 19 and solves addition and subtraction problems. And one thing I want to add with this, with these changes, we'll have a very minor update with the procedure IKABB on reporting student progress that is going to be in policy procedure in August. I'm sorry. In September, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Any questions?
Questions about any of the changes in pre-kindergarten or kindergarten progress reports? It's over my pay grade, so I can't ask any.
Your wife would know.
You know someone who.
I
Yeah.
could maybe
Yeah,
ask
his
somebody,
wife
but
would
still wouldn't
know.
know what's going on.
I just want to thank you and the group for your work on this. Very, very well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Budget transfer request. It's an action item. Schweitzer will make the request.
Good evening. Okay, we're here this evening to request a budget amendment. It's a two-part amendment this evening. The first section are carryover projects and items from fiscal year 2023. They were either equipment or items or projects that weren't completed as of June 30th of 2023. I do want to make the board aware that they're not new expenses. In May, the board did approve a budget transfer for the vehicles that are listed, as well as the emergency repairs. And then in June, there were also some budget transfers. The second part are emergency repairs that did come up in June. And you can see there, we have a pretty sizable emergency repair at the Northern Complex wastewater treatment plant, as well as some fire panels, the fire alarm panels. So they have to be replaced. So the total cost of the FY24 expenses was over $86,000. And when I spoke to Mr. Wizlowski, Mr. Zimmerman, and also Mr. Carr, they were very concerned that these emergency repairs would start their fiscal year budget off in a pretty negative way. So understanding that we are confident that there will be sufficient funds of carryover, we are requesting this budget amendment this evening.
Okay, this is an action item, so Superintendent McCartney, do you have a recommendation?
My recommendation is to approve the budget transfer request as presented by Mrs. Schweitzer. As she stated, the transfer is necessary as some items were not received or completed prior to the fiscal year, and there were some required emergency repairs at several facilities.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Rod. Is that Jason or Rod?
Jason.
Second.
Second.
Josh? Discussion? Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So on the first transfer, student transportation and maintenance, we approved it last year. The money was transferred last year and it just wasn't spent, right?
Correct.
So
The vehicles
so you're transferring it again.
into from FY23 into FY24.
Okay. So, gotcha.
Yeah, without getting into too much governmental accounting,
Yeah, okay.
we are a single year fund.
No
So,
problem. I thought that's what happened.
Yes,
What-
exactly.
What did we do? What are we doing, or what did we do with the 2 vehicles that we did have at the high schools that we're replacing?
So the 2 of them are still on order. They've been ordered. So they haven't arrived yet. But the Durangos that were going to be replaced are still at the high schools for the student priority use.
And once the new ones come, we'll auction the old ones off, or what's the
No,
procedure?
we had a kind of a domino effect of trading in the oldest of the fleet, and then they'll kind of trickle down to different users, depending on the use of the vehicle. So without a chart to show you exactly where they were going, that they would become fleet vehicles. So yeah, it was a comprehensive plan that actually, Mr. Wazlowski's not here, and neither is Mr. Germain, but the three of us worked collaboratively to come up with the plan. It didn't increase the size of the fleet; it actually decreased the size of the fleet, and so it brought the average age of our vehicles up by getting rid of some of the older.
Yeah, I was just wondering if
things.
they were trade-ins or did we
Yes,
auction
there
them
there
off?
were some they were traded
There
in.
were some trade-ins.
Yes,
Who are we purchasing them from? Do you know?
I believe Patriot Auto.
If you don't know
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm not exactly sure.
I mean, obviously, I was hoping we could
Yeah.
deal with somebody locally.
Oh no, they were definitely local vendors, and Mr. Wazlowski always uses Garrett County vendors for his vehicle replacement.
All right, other questions? Okay. There is a motion on the floor and a second to accept the budget transfer as presented to us. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, nay. And the budget is transferred.
Thank you.
Thank you. GCPS Blueprint Implementation Plan Approval.
Yes, good evening. So it is a great pleasure to be able to sit in front of you tonight, and very pleased to announce that the AIB, the Accountability and Implementation Board for the state of Maryland that oversees the blueprint, has approved the Garrett County Public Schools Local Blueprint Plan, which is a tremendous accomplishment for our system and certainly a testimony to a significant amount of work that went into play with our team. We had several leads, Ms. Schweitzer for governance and accounting, Mr. Edwards for our CCR pillar, Dr. Mangus and Mr. Hummel for pillar 4, Dr. Wildison for pillar 2, and Ms. Ashby for pillar 1, and many, many other stakeholders, our principals, teachers, local community, et cetera. I could probably speak about it for a while, but there were a lot of people that worked together to get to this point. We still have a lot of work to do in front of us because it is a 10-year implementation, but this is definitely a tremendous step forward for our school system. And certainly with this approval, it will allow us to continue the very good work that we're doing in expanding several of our programs. Notably our early childhood programs. We have already moved forward with getting approval of an additional Judy Center grant to help work with our youngest learners, and at the secondary level, expanding opportunities for our students with the Bobcat Academy for the first year of college at Frostburg, and our dual enrollment opportunities for our students with Garrett College, apprenticeship programs. There's just so much embedded in this that will allow us to move forward and really provide great opportunities for our students.
Questions, comments? Superintendent, you want to start?
I would like to comment. Because Dr. Miller has led the team in this work and putting together our blueprint plan, and has exhibited great leadership in pulling it all together for us. And we are all we're more than a little pleased to have the plan approved. And we are extremely pleased with the opportunities that we're going to be able to offer our students in the county as we continue to move forward. So thank you very much for your leadership, Dr. Miller.
You're welcome.
Rodney?
Just going to say same thing. Thank you for all your hard work on this. It was, I know how tough it was to put this together, especially in a small rural county to make sense out of the whole thing. And everybody that's in here that worked on that, congratulations. Good job.
Yes.
Anyone else? Yeah, I think we all are echoing the same things. I know it's been very difficult for all of you, and especially you. It's been a huge task, and I'm very appreciative to each of you for all the work that went in, and I'm sure you're glad that it's approved and we can move forward. I'm sure you're not looking forward to the next time it has to be submitted, which only seems around the corner.
March of 2024.
I know, which
We're already starting.
no, I'm sure.
But
I'm sure.
we're in celebration mode tonight. so.
You know, take the night and celebrate and start tomorrow.
Exactly.
But once again, congratulations. Appreciate it so very much.
Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and do our student member report. Haley, you want to go ahead and do yours, and we'll kind of wrap some things up, and then we'll do some public comment.
Okay, so for the Garrett County Association of Student Councils, our executive board met on July 18th to plan for the upcoming school year, and our main project currently is a picnic kickoff. At this picnic, we're going to have a potluck dinner, do a service project with some of the local nursing homes and writing their residents' letters, and then an idea session for different things we can do throughout the year. Then, in my role as SMOB, I also had the privilege of volunteering with several other GCPS staff members at our fair booth last week, where I got to speak with a variety of stakeholders, including past and current students, which I really enjoyed. And then on August 3rd, I also attended the MABE new student board member training, where I had a great opportunity to network, and it was very beneficial to help me understand my role as SMOB. Then for general student updates, many of our students had exhibit entries at the Garrett County Fair. Congratulations to all of those students who placed or received awards for those. And then 5 GCPS students attended the Maryland Forestry Board Natural Resources Camp, which is the biggest delegation Garrett County has ever had, so I thought that was something worth noting. And then also Southern Garrett Softball is in the process of creating a cookbook with recipes from students as a fundraiser.
Thank you, Haley. Questions, concerns, ideas for Haley? Looks like you've been very busy for the summer to me. I mean, that's a lot of things. So. I'm sure you'll become more busy as the year goes along. Okay, if there's no comments or questions for Haley, let's keep scooting. Any board member updates?
I'd like to say thank you to the FFA members that accompanied me and other fair board members last week with the Deputy Director of Agriculture for the state of Maryland. They went with us and kind of showed some of the student exhibits that were there, as well as helped do the tour for the fairgrounds where they were up in the county.
Anything else? Okay, we thought perhaps our new board member would be here tonight. He's going to be joining us in September, but I do not see Mr. Brills. Some perhaps decided not to come, but we will have a new board member who will be sworn in September. His name is Cody Brills, and we'll be anxious to have him as a part of our group and moving forward with a lot of things in the fall that are going to be extremely important as we make some decisions for the Board of Education and for the school system. So we'll move on to superintendent updates.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. One of the updates that I would like to offer tonight is following the board's approval tonight as part of the consent agenda. I am pleased to announce that Mr. David Yoder has been appointed as principal of the Northern Complex. So we certainly look forward to his leadership in that position. Another item in preparation for the relocation of the central office, as we've shared before, most of the instructional team from the central office will be relocating to Northern Middle School. We will call that Central Office North. There will be signage in place to help direct any traffic and any people who come to visit us in that facility. The rest of the central office staff will be relocating to Dennett Road. We have already officially changed our address to 770 Dennett Road, Oakland, Maryland, because we needed to get that address changed for our vendors and members of the public. The changes will take place officially. The Northern Middle team should be at Northern Middle before school starts. We are starting to move people within a week, and then the rest of the team will move hopefully by Thanksgiving, and then we'll turn the office downtown back to the county commissioners.
Thank you. Comments, questions for the superintendent concerning our moves? And once again, congratulations to Mr. Yoder on being our first principal of our new ideas for the northern end educational complex, and we're excited about that. That design, that idea, that future, we think that will be very helpful to the students at the northern end. Okay, we have one person that wants to speak, and she wants to speak about nurses, Stephanie Boyd. And I'll ask you to come forward.
Is it on or do I have to do it? Yeah, on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My legal counsel reminded me I must read the statement to you first. The Garrett County Board of Education is pleased to receive comments and ideas from our public pertaining to the policies, procedures, and/or practices of the school system. We ask that comments be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per individual, unless otherwise considered by the board president. There will be no discussion or action taken at this meeting, but may be considered at a future meeting. Issues that are specific to individual employees should be referred to the immediate supervisor for appropriate consideration and review. Rude, slanderous, or threatening remarks or other behavior that is disruptive or interferes with the order of the meeting is not permitted. With that being said, begin, please.
Thank you. So, more than 40% of school-aged children in the United States have at least one chronic condition: asthma, diabetes, seizures, food allergies, or others. This does not even include the rising mental health concerns or the opioid epidemic plaguing our communities. Nurses are often the individuals who can first identify chronic conditions of students during routine health exams and interactions throughout the school day. School nurses have not only been found to make a positive impact on student health as well as their academic achievement, but they also help save money. Per the CDC, for every $1 spent on school nursing, our society and communities save $2.20. We can all agree that navigating the COVID pandemic would have been impossible without our school nurses' expertise, guidance, and support for both the teachers and faculty, but to the families and communities as well. These individuals administered vaccines and COVID tests, tracked exposures, followed up, and provided infectious disease prevention for every member of our community. It has been brought to my attention that this critical role of the school nurse is being reduced and eliminated for some schools and is being replaced by a school health room technician. This technician's minimum qualifications include CPR and first aid. The preferred qualifications include receiving a certified medical technician and a certified nursing assistant. As a registered nurse myself, these qualifications do not compare with the education, knowledge, and experience that a licensed school nurse possesses. The additional critical thinking skills taught throughout nursing school allow the RN to make crucial decisions quickly that support the health and well-being of my most prized possessions, my children. The amount of time required to consult a nurse and have a task delegated or to call an emergency provider, who mostly are volunteers within our communities, will be vital in emergencies. Those such as playground trauma, cardiac issues, anaphylaxis, or critical hypoglycemia cannot wait. The scope of practice that the technician holds is very limited, and I do not feel serves the best interest of our children or their medical needs. If the technician route is honestly the best route that GCPS can find, I ask that a close review of the entire programming of school nurses is closely evaluated. Eliminating paper charting, updating policies, and reducing redundancies can allow and support the current school nurses to have a more effective and hands-on approach to their care and support healthcare promotion within our children. These crucial individuals need to be treated as the highly trained professionals they are and as an asset to our school community. I would also request, if we are eliminating licensed nursing positions, that all teachers and support staff be required to hold active CPR and first aid certifications, as I believe had been the previous practice. These drastic changes and elimination or reduction of our available school resources need to be better communicated to the parents and guardians of the children to which affected. So as parents, we have the ability to advocate for the health, safety, and well-being of our children.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Okay. I believe that is everything on our agenda for this evening. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Jason, seconded by Josh. Those in favor of adjourning public session, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. And thank you.